You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. Hey, what's happening?
Hey, Oliver, what's going on?
Man, I'm good, man. Today's Wednesday. I feel like it was just Wednesday, like yesterday.
Yeah, it
Like,
was a week ago.
it's days are kind of jumbled by, man. But yeah, it's all good.
Hey, I gotta give you your props, though. I gotta give you your props. I saw your post today,
hmm
and I gotta give you your props. You took it on the chin, man, and I mean that literally in the on
Yeah,
your hands. Uh, man,
yeah,
hey, I don't know what to say. I mean, let's just keep it 100.
yeah. That was an interesting experience, man. And I chose to do that. So for those that are watching now or watching the replay, I have some issues with my hands, and so um, turns out it's something called trigger finger that affects this portion, the index finger portion of your hand, where it locks up. And so there's only two ways to deal with it. One is steroid shots. The other is surgery. And what they hope is that the steroid shots actually solve the problem with the tendons, so you don't have to do surgery. Which the doctor was he kind of he didn't want to really come outright and say this, but there's a great chance surgery is in the future anyway. I'm not going to claim that, but that's he kind of said that in so many words, right? But he was like, man, if you don't want to take the shots, then just wear. You can go buy a what's called a trigger finger splint and wear that when you're sleeping, and just see if over time it goes away. I was like, you know what? As much as I don't want to do it, because I've gotten cortisone shots before, and they hurt. So I was like, I know this is gonna be no. And he told me, he was like, they hurt. I'm just gonna be honest with you, they hurt. So, but I did it, man. Both
Hey,
hands.
and the man, that was no small needle, man. And he
Yeah.
looking for joints. He went
Right.
looking
And
for a
so
joint.
so the reason why it hurts, like a needle is a needle. So if you don't like the feeling of needles, obviously all needles hurt. The issue with this though is that once he stuck the needle in, and the needle he stuck it in right here on both hands. Once he stuck the needle in, he had to actually dig to get to the tendon. So now you got this thing digging in your hand. Then when he gets to the tendon and pushes in, that's another pain. Then once he pushes in, he has to release the steroid, and
Burn.
that hurt.
And I'm sitting up here looking at you going like, didn't
That
he
hurt.
just push that in your hand and you didn't even flinch? I was like, hey, that brother, man, he the man's man there.
Listen, I didn't make a whole lot. I made some noise, but I didn't make a whole lot of noise. But trust me when I say that it was not.
Oh
It
man.
was painful. And in my
Hey,
right, the hand that I videotaped was actually the least painful. The right hand was a problem.
ooh, I
Yeah,
noticed you only showed one.
I only showed one. Yeah, the right hand was, and I put it in the video. I just put a note. The right hand hurt worse
Oh,
because it did.
well, again, we are transparent here.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
and
it's life, and that's a part of what I'm dealing with in this season of my life. So
hey, understand, and I don't want to get into it too deep, but both you and I are in this third quarter of life,
yeah.
and things
Yep.
start to happen that hadn't happened before.
hmm
And so these are just a little glimpse into those that are not yet here,
You're not there yet, right?
but it's coming. And I'll be honest with you, and some of the things we can do, we can prevent it.
True. True.
But in other cases, we can't.
hmm
So you just got to understanding is that the better we prepare, again, we back here,
Yep.
the
Yep.
better we prepare, the better we are off as this journey continues and as we get in from one um, quarter of life into the next.
hmm
And I tell you, I am and full aware of the third quarter. It has been and is still a very interesting quarter.
Yeah,
That being said,
indeed.
that being said, I know we have not welcomed people, but please, all of here. My name is Juan Lee. That's Oliver Marcel, and we are here as representatives of Clear Journey. And who Clear Journey is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for answers in life's challenges. And what we do is we educate and provide resources to those that are looking for challenges in 8 particular areas, which is, in other words, in every area of life. We want to make sure that you have the tools and you also have the right mindset so that you can digest, receive, and apply and be your very best self. So that's what we're here to do. If this is your first time here, subscribe to us. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or go over to Clear Journey and register or to register for our newsletter and be involved, be a part of the community. We would really appreciate you for being a part of what we do here at Clear Journey. Um, Today, we have someone that's very I spoke to this lady a few weeks ago, and I found that I don't know if many of you know me, but I have a learning disability. And I ran across this lady, and she just epitomized not letting anything stop her. She has just made her learning or her disability something as almost an attribute, to be honest with you, because she has really did a lot with it, and now is continuing to do more with it by serving others. And so we are really so very happy to have her with us because she's going to tell us about her journey and how she has managed to navigate her disabilities. And if you have one, if and I'm gonna be honest with you, hers is visual, hers is physical, mine was mental, and that is the sense that they're seen and unseen disabilities. And so we need to understand that internally we're having to navigate things that other people don't have to navigate.
Right.
And I was so moved by what her conversation and her journey. I felt that it would be really nice for her to come on and to share with us her journey and what she's doing now. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into it and welcoming Davida Shansky.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
welcome.
And let me say it this way. My name is Davida Shensky. I'm a career and personal development strategy coach and got into it because over 40 years ago, when I entered the workforce, it was prior to the Americans with Disabilities Act. You still had the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which touched on the same subjects as the ADA, but it wasn't enforceable and companies got around it.
Mm.
And because of it, it also forced me to become a disability rights advocate. And back in 1996, when Atlanta was bidding for the Olympics, they refused to bid for the Paralympics. And so it was the disability community that got together and brought it to Atlanta. And then the head of the IOC at the time supported the Paralympics. And that was when the bylaws were changed so that any host country after that who bid for the Olympics was automatically bidding for both and having to prepare for both.
Mm. That's
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. That is, and that's a great historical piece there that you shared with us. That's great to know that that it shows what happens when community stands up and gets together. You can make
And
an
Well,
it,
impact.
that's it. That's it. I think it was as much because, and how the ADA came about was that prior to the ADA, whenever Congress dealt with anything surrounding disability issues, it was, well, what do we do for them? But then they brought people with disabilities in front of them and said, what do you need? And that was the first time they actually addressed it specifically based on the needs of people with disabilities. And that's also when the terminology changed, because prior to that, if you remember, it was always handicap. And the
Mhm.
term handicap comes from the very beginning of the 20th century, when people would stand on street corners with the cap in hand asking for money.
Mhm.
And people with disabilities want to work, they're not sitting on street corners asking for money.
Mm.
And that's a perception that people get from
Right.
people who have disabilities.
Right.
And so that is a very good point that you make, is that that is a bad perception that people get from people who have disabilities.
Hmm.
While we're on this, I'd like to ask you a question. What have been some of the challenges that you've had and motivated, and things that motivated you to continue the journey that you've been on, because of your disability? What have been some of them? Has it just been legally, or what have been some of the challenges you've had?
Well, I was born in 1951, and in 1951, you didn't have society didn't even recognize its disability community as existing, and that was when they would just warehouse people with disabilities in places like Willowbrook and institutions, and they just didn't do anything for them whatsoever. And then in the 1960s was when Geraldo Rivera and a lot of the news people and journalists started going in and exposing what was going on. And then that was pretty much the beginning of the change and the awareness of people with disabilities. And I was the only one in the school with a disability, was ostracized because of it, was bullied because of it, because I was different. And then I come from a family that's very, very dysfunctional. I had a father that grew up in a home where there was a lot of physical abuse, a mother that grew up in a home that where there was a lot of verbal, mental, and emotional abuse.
Hmm.
And together they came together. And it's I don't think there's any real love between them other than a mutual need. Because my mother wanted financial security, and my father wanted someone that would be a hostess for dinner parties. And that was
Mm.
pretty much their relationship.
Hmm.
And the abuse that they experienced as children was what they brought together and did to their children.
Hmm.
I mean, that you make a point to talk about the state of the family and how important it is in the development of the children, or the lack thereof.
Right.
What did you do in light of that to be able to offset that type of dysfunctionality in your journey?
Well, I was pretty much always an independent child, that if you put a red flag in front of me and told me I couldn't do anything, I was going to try it anyway. I learned to tie my shoes with one hand. I basically pushed myself to do things because I have an outgoing personality and I like being around people and I like talking to people. That's why I'm a good podcaster. That's why I was a good professional speaker and trainer. And that's how I pretty much got my background, where I studied psychology and mental health and trained in group therapy. But because I didn't have the master's, I didn't have the PhD in that field, it was a natural progression to go and take Toastmasters, join National Speakers Association, and get the skills to speak from the podium.
Hmm.
Okay.
Nice.
That being the case, then what was it that propelled you into the education that you initially had? That, that psychology and the mental health
Okay.
and rehabilitational counseling. What made you want to do that?
I, a lot of that's because as a child, I believe I was more aware of what was going on around me and knowing that it was not a healthy environment and that I wanted to learn how to be different.
Mhm. That's
And then when I was in college studying psychology and studying mental health, I also had the opportunity to train in psychodrama and in transactional analysis and use those types of training to work on myself and learn to be more expressive about my feelings. And I can remember writing my mother a letter and telling her, like, the fact that she would sit there and say, "Why are you crying? You had no reason to cry." I had a reason to cry. I was hurting. I needed her to hug me and tell me she loved me. She didn't know how to do that, and so therefore I had to learn to do that for myself and pat myself on the back and tell myself that my inner child, it's okay. I will take care of you. And
wow.
a lot of that's because early on, and yes, my faith was very strong because for me, I would ask, why? Why me? And I came to the conclusion my life had a purpose. And eventually I would find that purpose, and you can see what I did.
Mhm.
And in the 1990s, I tried to establish a nonprofit that would serve people with disabilities who want to become entrepreneurs and help them with the financing because when today starting a business online is relatively easy and relatively inexpensive. But back in the 90s, before you had the internet, you had to put together a media kit, you had to put together videos. All of that costs money.
Mhm.
See, you and even starting a brick and mortar store, you have to have a quarter of a million to $500,000 in the bank
Mhm.
before you even open the doors and make money.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. What were some of the challenges that you had in starting your business though? Did you have resistance
Okay,
because
well,
you
the
because you were
challenge was no support system for my mother. When I sat down and told her what I wanted to do, all she heard was I wanted her money. I never
Mm.
asked her for a dime. I never asked her for anything. I just wanted her to believe in me. And
Mhm.
in a way, I knew she couldn't do that. But then she sat there, and because she believed all I wanted was her money, she decided she was going to basically disown me.
Wow. Wow.
that's a challenge. In that
Yeah.
in so doing that though, let me ask you this. Were there any resistances in the process of getting the help that you needed to start your business? Those that did they were
Well,
there
it
resistance?
was a struggle in that not having the mobility to get around. Because even though I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and you had public transportation. It didn't get all over. It was specific to certain areas,
Mhm.
and unless you're in an area where they have very good public transportation, it's very difficult to get around. And then depending on time of day, if you're going early in the morning or late at certain times when people are getting off work, the transportation runs better.
Mhm.
Later in the evening, it gets, slows down. And then you have certain areas that have no public transportation. So by not having a car, that was another challenge.
How did you overcome it? What did you do?
Well, I struggled, but I was determined to succeed. And eventually, as it all came into the internet, then that's when my business really took off because and I was able to teach myself because I found that I don't learn by sitting in a classroom and learning or listening to tape or watching things. I learn by actually doing.
Mhm.
So by getting on there, by taking what I was doing offline and putting it online, because I was working as an independent consultant that represented a company called Formax PDI, which was eventually bought out by Carlson Company and became their learning division, and then eventually became Inscape Publishing, and is now owned by Wiley Publishing
Hmm.
Company, and I can use so that I can promote those tools. I can use it, and I create my own learning courses because I was going out and doing values, doing listening, doing learning and various things, but now I focus in on the personal development side and the entrepreneur side, in that the kind of business you can start online and how to take your skills and then how to use the online digital marketing to build your business. I mean, podcasting is another avenue of getting yourself known and getting yourself out there. And my podcast has been up for 17 years.
Wow. Yeah, you got a good stretch there. You have in back of you, you have a very inspirational phrase: invest in yourself, right?
Yes.
And as you were navigating these challenges, and as you were you know coming to an understanding that you had something to offer the world, what did you do in the way of investing in yourself to get to the space where you are right now?
I took courses. I interacted with people who could give me the support I needed, who could give me the referrals I needed, because actually building a business online is far easier than building a business offline.
Hmm.
You don't have you can get into business online for under $100 or less
Hmm.
just by first setting up your website.
Right.
And I've been on various websites, and I'm currently on the Go High level, but theirs has a very good CRM system which helps you keep us keep it. Who's your warm market? Who's your cold market? Who's your hot market? And once they get into your hot market, how do you keep in touch with them?
Hmm.
And how do you integrate it so that your emails, your connections,
Hmm.
and then use your sales funnels? And I found that their particular setup integrates very well with each other.
Okay.
That's something that I've been through and I'm learning it now. So I applaud you for being able to navigate that program as well as you are doing it. I applaud you for that, because
Well,
that is something.
I was on the Builderall platform for probably 4 or 5 years, and
Hmm.
learned their system. Their system was very similar, but theirs wasn't as integrated. Their tools constantly were having problems. And the one thing I like about Go High Level, if you need help, you can get on a Zoom call right then and there, and they will help you do and show you exactly what needs to be done.
That's good
Nice.
to know. That's
Yeah.
good to know. I already appreciate you already, even more. I like that
Yeah,
because I,
because on Builderall, you would send a support ticket and you'd have to wait for them to get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at Wix and you look at all these other platforms, none of them really have a support system, and you have to go pick and choose different tools on different platforms and put them together and try to patch it together to make it all work.
Mm. The, speaking of courses, right? Because that's the space that you do, and I might be skipping ahead a little bit, but what would you recommend in terms of the coach who wants to go and do what you are doing and create coursework
What
for their
the
market? What
best?
would you suggest they do? Just get started.
Well, if you have a specific field that you're very, very knowledgeable about, you can automatically start creating courses. It's not that hard to do. And initially, when I first started doing my courses, I put them up on Skillshare and I put them up
Mm-hmm.
on Udemy.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I had various individuals who work with different platforms
Mm-hmm.
come and ask me to put my courses on their platform. And then on Builderall, what I was able to do was set up membership sites where they would pay to take my courses. But on Go High Level, and 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 let me back up. On Builderall, I had to have so many different domain names for them to be able to access
Mm-hmm.
whatever I was doing. On Go High Level, I brought it down to three,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then in each of these three, I they have what they call communities, and you can have groups where you have challenges or your ebooks or your personal development, and they can to access those courses they have to pay for it, and then they get access to the community. But I don't have to do it where they have their own domain name. So
Okay.
it's able to cut down from 15 domain names to three.
Wow. Nice.
Let me ask a question. You started you're the founder of International Disabilities and Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Is this program, these things that you taught, are they housed under this program
Well,
underneath of that?
it's something that I had started. I had gotten the LegalZoom to help me put it all together, and I started applying for the 501c3. But then I never had the money to pay to actually get it, so it never quite got off the ground. It's not. I would still love to do it. I think there's still a need for it because people with disabilities have specific needs that if you go to school or you go to SBA, they're not going to be able to deal with it, and you're not going to get the funding. But you still need, you need a way to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And if and like most people, when they start their business, they've either worked in the corporate world, or they've worked for someone else. They built up a savings. They had the money to put into that business. And today, even if you have a brick and mortar store, you still have to be able to have a presence online, because if you don't, then you're leaving money on the table. And digital marketing is social media marketing, email marketing, and then how do you take all of that and put it all together?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
So go ahead, Al. You got something?
well, I was just gonna say, you the work that you're doing as it relates to self development and um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Personal growth.
Personal growth. You help with pivoting. You help with transition, that kind of thing. What's a common misconception
Well,
when it comes to just transitioning and pivoting and being able to position yourself in a way where
well,
development can happen?
as much as anything, it's being able to initially put the time in. Whether you're doing affiliate marketing for someone else, and affiliate marketing is different than multi-level marketing, or they're both built on relationship. But with affiliate marketing, you're working for someone who already has a business, who has products, high-end products, that what they're doing is they're using a sales force.
Hmm.
And like if I'm already using your product, like Go High Level has an affiliate program. So if you're already on their platform and using their platform, then you can also sell it to someone else and the neat thing about what I like about theirs is that theirs is set up that if you're an agency and you have clients, you have have where you can have sub accounts and keep all your clients separate and what you're doing with them separate. And then what happens is you can interact with them and help them. And the neat thing about what Go High Level is they got that you can depending on the level you're in, you can white label yourself and have your own logo on it.
That's a business all in itself.
Yeah.
That program
Yeah,
right there, Go High Level. I mean, you have gotten very astute in their Go High Level program. I tell you, I was introduced to it and it blew. Oh, it was way over my head. It was way
because
over my head.
if you don't understand what each tool is, then you're going to be lost in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But
Very lost.
yeah, but I'm saying, how did you get all of that? I mean, how long is it taking you to get into it? How
Well,
long have you been using Go High Level?
the first time I was introduced to Go High Level was when I was taking a course on how to set up a 5-day challenge, and it was using the funnels. And he had it all built in where you can go in and answer questions, and then that was put into their values, and it was and it's so that it just automatically populated. And a lot of the things they have where you can set up the values, and whatever your answer is, that populates right into it. So that was my first introduction to it. And then I didn't want to move over there. But then when I was a couple of months ago, when I was dealing with some issues on Builderall, they had revamped and the original owner sold out,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of they started having problems with their system and the way it was working, and they couldn't keep it together. And then when they revamped it, they kept having I've been in there 4 years. I don't need a video popping up that invites me as to get started. And I got fed up with that. And I said, you know what? I'm moving over here because that way I went from paying $110 to $97, save myself some money, and have a better system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then because I was so familiar with that program, because it had a lot of the same tools, I picked up on it pretty easily.
So then let me ask you, as you've been on this journey as an entrepreneur, how long have you been an entrepreneur?
40 plus years, started my business in 1983.
Wow. We
Okay.
got a veteran entrepreneur here.
That
Oh
that
yeah.
What would be your advice to somebody just starting out?
If you're just starting up, the best thing you can do is get on a platform that, unless you want to piece together things, get on a platform that's all in one, but find one that they actually offer training. Because the neat thing I noticed about Go High Level is they'll give you training. They have people that come in on a weekly basis and do 3-day workshops, intensive workshops that will teach you how to use high level to actually build your business.
okay. Before we go, we've done a lot of Go High Level conversation
I
here.
just about to say, man,
A
go
lot
live.
of
They need to cut us a check right now. They need
no.
to cut
Well,
the three of
well,
us a check.
no, but there might be those that are out there who doesn't know, because I'm gonna tell you, don't know what Go High
What
Level
that
is.
is. Okay. Yeah. Good
Well,
What
point.
yeah,
Good
go
point.
go
is
high
Go
level
High
is
Level?
nothing more than a platform that has the customer relationship marketing, or the CRM system that's really laid out well. It has an email marketing program. You can build your sales funnels. You can build your websites. You can create courses on there. You can it just is it's And that was what my main thing was building the courses. That's what I liked about the Go High Level, excuse me, the Builderall platform was the way that particular tool worked. But when I'm trying to integrate everything and it's not working right, then something had to change.
Mhm.
And if you have to wait 2 to 3 days and they still can't solve the problem with their support system, then they need to go back and see what they're doing, because they are promoting that all the tools they have. And the thing is that when I first started with Builderall, all I was doing was paying $49.90, and I had access to all the tools. Now, if you go and start with them to get access to all the tools, it's $249, and I could pay $97 and have access to all the tools on Go High Level.
Mhm.
But if I want to do if I want to sell the software as a service and all of that, then you go to the higher. And if you are an agency where you're building up and you have a big clientele, that's $295,
Wow.
$50, but you got a better system.
Hmm.
So am I hearing you say that technology has leveled the playing ground for all phases and all areas, no matter what your circumstances or situation may be?
Oh yeah,
Technology
yeah,
has leveled the
yeah.
playing field.
It literally leveled the playing field for people with disabilities.
Mhm.
Because if you have problems with mobility and you can't get to the job or you can't be there on time, then all you have to do is open up your computer, get online, and do the same thing and work remotely. And remote workers actually started in the late 90s.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
remember, I remember when I was living in an apartment there, someone came to visit my neighbor, and she went to work with a company. They gave her the computer, they gave her the phone, said go hook it up at home. You can get up on the mainframe and and come into work. That's it.
Mhm.
That started in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now the pandemic really emphasized it, and it really grew exponentially, but it's been around.
Spin around. Yeah. Yeah. My wife has been a telecommuter for a while now. I want to. I'm not changing the subject per se, but keeping in the same vein of the entrepreneur that's just starting out, needing to get on a platform, um, and that's the technological side of
Yeah.
what they need to do to prepare. I want to go to the other side of what they need to do to prepare. What needs to be going on in their head and their
Yeah.
heart?
When you are an entrepreneur, you have to have the right mindset. You have to have a sales. You literally have to have a business plan, because your business plan is your roadmap on how you're going to reach a specific goal. And you need to understand how to set goals, how to break them down into smaller goals so that you're feeling success along the way, because you build on that success.
Mm,
That mindset, I tell you, is something that's significant in all of our journeys, is to have the right mindset, giving us the right perspective as to how we're going to approach whatever it is that we're desiring to approach. So you're absolutely, we appreciate that. Let me ask you this as a question as it relates to the work that you've done as an advocacy or public education. What areas are you emphasizing in this part with the disabilities, um, physical? I mean, are you doing anything with your psychology degree and stuff like that?
I, in essence, kind of how I'm using my background in psychology and mental health is the creation of the personal development courses. That it's dealing with family boundaries, how to communicate better within the family, how to set boundaries, and make sure that that individuals respect them, because the biggest thing is if there's no respect of each other within a family, then there's no relationship in that family.
Mm.
And
Right.
That's
then you've got to understand how to communicate better. And body language is part of communication. Listening is part of communication. Eye contact is all part of communication. And I've created courses around all of those things.
Mm.
okay. All righty. That sounds great. Let me ask you this. Is there in the future, what have you got planned in the future? What do you have going on in the future, or like, where do you project these things to move forward for you? How you're going to move forward on with them?
Well, my biggest thing is I've set up some master classes on specific topics. One being the two that I'm really working on right now is the one is reach personal success on a daily basis, and family boundaries, how to build strong relationships,
Mhm.
and some others. And I've got some ebooks on the topic. But the idea is that as I help people deal with those specific issues, then what you're going to do is you're going to find that it helps having and it all connects to having the right mindset, because that if you build strong, if you can change the dynamics of the family and the family is willing to change. It's like I have a friend that was a licensed family and marriage counselor, and she was my go-to person to talk to when I was going through the issues with my mother, kind of because we grew up together. She knew the family, and it was someone that I could talk to. And we all have to have someone that we talk to. And if you don't have that, you've got the community mental health centers where you can go on a sliding scale fee to help with that. And because dealing with those issues and learning to respect yourself, learning to love yourself, that is when you love yourself, then you can love someone else. And then you're opening yourself up to be loved.
Yeah. Now, do you work with clients one on one?
I have I've not now, a lot of my focus has changed where I'm doing more group work,
Okay.
but yes, I can work with someone one on one.
Okay.
Now, do you have a website where people can reach you?
Yes, it's the number one personalcareercoach.com.
Number
And it
one.
is the number one. It's not the spelling out, it's the number one. I also have one that's askdavidashensky.com, because that's the one where they can come and ask questions. And then I have a third one that's called disabilityrightsadvocate.com, which is gearing my services towards people with disabilities.
Is that right? That one right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to it. And then askdavida.com.
AskDavidashensky.com.
Okay, I'll put that in there as well. For those of you who are watching the replay, make sure that you are connecting with Davida either at this website that is on your screen right now or this one.
And also disabilityrightsadvocate.com.
All right,
Wow.
let's go there.
Now, do they have? Are they all connected, or are they
Yeah,
all
they
have
are
something
very much
specific?
connected in that I'm pretty much creating a lot of the things that interconnect with each other. But it's like if my one that's disability rights advocate is geared toward people with disabilities.
Okay.
And the idea being that how are you going to do something. And there, to me, I think that people with disabilities need to be in a support group where they're around people like themselves.
I
Because when you're isolated, you're lost because you don't, no one can relate to you. That was my biggest problem when I was in school as a young child because you didn't have special education. And the funny thing
mm,
is, all the women that I knew that all became special ed teachers, none of them ever bothered to keep in touch with me or try to keep in touch with me. But yet, when we had our 50th high school reunion, well, they were expecting, they was like, come and pay $125. And I'm like, wait a minute, why
yeah.
would I do that if none of you were willing to keep in touch with me or want to keep in touch with me? Because I don't have to get, you went on with your lives, you had a full life. And,
Hmm.
it's like, no, I don't need to pay just to go see what you look like today.
I know that's
Wow.
right. I know that's right.
Wow.
I know
Hey,
that's right.
look, that's a real talk right there.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
real
Yeah, it
talk.
is. Because that's all it is. You know, that's all it is. People just trying to see what you look like and whether you are successful or not. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to,
Yeah.
make it just trying to assess where you are.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not like because if you were friends with me and we kept in touch with all these years, that's a different story.
Hmm.
But then you don't
Hmm.
need to go to a high school reunion to keep in touch with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Understood.
you you are hitting some people right there. I'm gonna tell you, you are hitting some people there. Hey,
Hmm.
is there anything else you would like to share before you go?
Okay, I've got up here on the as an answer that I'm promoting the intro to reach personal success on a daily basis, and the link is up there also.
All right.
You
So
got that?
this is a longer link. So what we
Yeah,
what we can potentially do is put this in the maybe we can adapt the show notes for this link.
yeah.
I'll put it up
It's
so that
it's a
folks
little
can
bit
see it.
it's a link to actually the checkout.
Yeah, so it's a little bigger link, so you may have to write this one down, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching the replay, and potentially we'll see. Maybe the
Can we get it in the chat? Can they pick it up out of the chat?
let me drop it in there
Put
as
it
well.
put it in the
Now,
chat.
only certain people will get it once I put it in the chat, but I'll go ahead and put it in the comments.
Yeah, there's not a lot of things I do know, but a lot of things I don't know too. That I still learn.
Mm,
Technology is always advancing
Technology is always advancing, indeed.
Ain't that the
Indeed.
every
truth?
day.
And look, you can't keep up with it, and let's more try to understand it.
That's
Indeed.
Well,
it.
well, I am very happy that you came to spend this time with us. It has been very eye-opening because I see you and myself a lot alike. Not quite have gone through the quite as much as you have, because I was one that had gone through the special education type of thing. But the response was similar to what you went through in the sense that it didn't really emphasize your uniquenesses. It just blew up and exposed the facts of things that you didn't measure up in, and not trying to develop that which you were.
But
And
learning disabilities are hard to diagnose, and many teachers don't even know how to adapt to understand that you learn differently.
differently, there you go. And the thing about
Because
it is what you
I
learn.
in the classroom, I was 3 to 4 to 5 steps behind them. I didn't do very well on tests, but yet I gained the knowledge, and when I took it and started applying it, it's all that knowledge is there, and but it was easier for me to pick up on things when I when someone's explaining it to me and then I'm actually doing it.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, one of the bigger things that I dealt with as growing up with a learning disability, first of all, I didn't know I had one for many, many years.
Mm.
And then it was the shame of having it and not knowing it, and then the shame of having it and knowing it. It was that you have to get over. So I commend you in the sense that you navigated that. And did you find that to be a challenge also of being ashamed of
Well,
having it?
yeah, it was because it was like my family didn't understand that cerebral palsy affects how the brain processes information. And because it doesn't get from short term memory into long term memory, I didn't do well on tests. It
Mm.
didn't mean that I couldn't learn. It just meant that I learned differently. But
Mhm.
and teachers back then, because you didn't have special ed, didn't know how to deal with people with disabilities.
Mm.
Well, I'm just saying that even with special ed, they didn't know how to deal with people with special
No, well,
abilities.
let's put it this way. I know some of those teachers. My sister was a teacher in special ed. Didn't get along with any of her 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 own sisters.
Hmm.
As a teacher, she taught 30 years, but she taught 1 year in Savannah. Then she went to Atlanta and taught first another 18 years. Never stayed in the same school more than a year or two. Never got along with her principal. Never got along with the other teachers. Then, after 19 years of teaching, she took off 3 years. And
Mm.
then after that went back for the last 11 years, still going through the same thing. And then the last year that she taught, she had to change from the Atlanta City school system to the DeKalb County school system. So that shows you what kind of teachers you had at that back then.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Well, look, we want.
Because many of them were taking special education because that was where they knew they would have guaranteed jobs as a teacher.
Mm.
Wow.
Got you. Got
You
you.
can't find them anymore.
Mm.
Well, look, I want to thank you for coming tonight and for being with us and sharing all your insights. I'm talking about from disability to entrepreneurship to advocacy. You have had a wide spectrum of information that you've shared with us. And basically, it's good for anybody and everybody because you've shown us how the field has been level, the playing field has become level with technology and giving us some very good insight. And I'm going to be in touch with you about that go high level stuff too, because
Oh
that
yeah, I can
I've
give
been
you
there.
their links to show, and then I can show you how to use it. And then they'll say once you get in their email system, they'll be sending you something on all these different every week on the different courses that are being taken. And the one thing they have is they have a 5 day AI challenge where they literally teach you how to set it up so that when people come to your website, you can interact with them through answering questions for them
Mm.
without having to worry that, and that they come and they can ask you what, and you've got the answers for them.
Mm.
Hey,
Nice.
that's we're gonna be in touch. So that being the case, I want to thank you again. I appreciate you being with us, and we are going to pass along all of your information to our community. And if there's anything that you can do, we can do for you, please reach out and let us know. But we have really thoroughly enjoyed you being with us today. Thank you
Indeed.
very much.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All righty then. So that being the case, we're going to close up the show. Going to run some little bit of information. By the way, I want to let people know that tomorrow. By the way, again, I don't know if anybody understood. She and I really relate. I
Mm.
mean, the challenges that the disabled community goes through, and for her to be able to be an independent
Hmm.
person
Hmm.
and navigate over the years that she has, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So that has just been great.
Yep. And
Um,
it shows just like it says on her LinkedIn that you can nothing doesn't have to stop you from achieving your dreams. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And that being said, I would like to put up what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
okay,
Tomorrow at noon. Um,
tomorrow at noon, what's happening?
there it is. It's going to be a masterclass I'm putting on how to shift your fixed mindset to a growth mindset. It's free. Come on out. It's go um, over to Eventbrite, and you can register for it. And it's going to be at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be for 1 hour, just your lunchtime. Come on over and spend it with me. Hopefully, I'm gonna share some things with you so that you can recognize and then grow as a result of recognition of where you might be at this point in time in your life. But looking forward to as many of you are. It's free. Come on out and join me tomorrow at noon. Um, Also, if there's anything else you'd like to know about Clear Journey before or after, by all means, go over to clearjourney.org, and find out all about what we do over there. And in addition to that, by all means, also my author, the book Love Made Simple: The Guide to Inner Peace. Have a chance to pick that up if you haven't. If it's on Audible and it's on Amazon, if you like to pick that up, all of the proceeds go to help us in our mission at Clear Journey, and that is to help and assist you navigate life more successfully. So, that being said, I am out. Oliver, how can people catch up with you?
If you're a social media person, you can catch me right there. At Denali LLC is the handle everywhere on social media. If you're an email person, you can email me at the using the email address that's on the screen. If you're wondering why you would even want to email me or reach out to me on social media, I am passionate about seeing relationships thrive. And as an author, speaker, and coach in that space and the men's empowerment and enrichment space, it is just my calling, my desire, my passion to see individuals thrive and build and maintain, not just build, but maintain the relationship of their dreams. And so, if that is of an interest to you, come check us out, come see what we're doing, and have a conversation with me.
Well, well, well. And that's indeed the case. Um, I can't think of anything else. Again, every Wednesday night we are here. We look forward to being here to share with you experts in areas of importance in life. If you are interested in being a guest on Clear Journey, by all means, give us a shout. Reach out to us at info@clearjourney.org, and we can schedule something, a time to meet to see if we can find a time for you to be a member or be a guest on Clear Journey on It's Life Live. But that's it for tonight. Anything else you got, Oliver?
No, I think we're all good.
All righty then. Like as usual, at the end of each one, we can't change life, but we surely can help you navigate it. So until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.